Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're stepping into a space that's often misunderstood, misread, and yet it holds the power to change the entire rhythm of your connection with a man. Have you ever had a man greet you and something in that hello felt different? Like time paused just a little longer, like his words weren't just sounds, but a confession dressed in everyday politeness. I want you to think about that moment, the way he said your name, the way he looked at you, not just at your face, but into your presence. That moment wasn't casual. That was the language of a man who is captivated, and not just by your beauty, but by your essence. In a world where we often rush through hey and what's up, it's easy to miss the rare sacred signal that a man is crazy about you. Not in a needy, over-obsessive way, but in that grounded, respectful, deeply magnetic way that every hive, you woman, deserves to be seen. So today, we're going to decode this. We'll walk into the subtle energy of male behavior, the psychology of greetings, and what it truly means when a man can't hide his affection, even in the way he says hello. You'll never look at a simple hi the same again. Stay with me. If you've ever had a moment where a man greeted you and you felt something shift inside you, like your breath caught in your chest for just a second, you were probably right to pay attention. Not every hello is just a hello. Some of them are something else entirely. And I want to begin here, not with some grand theory of romance or with a checklist of signs, but with something far more intimate. I want you to recall a moment, a time when a man walked into your space, maybe into your life, and he greeted you in a way that made the air feel just a little thicker. His voice was soft but deliberate. His eyes lingered never inappropriately, but with curiosity and reverence. And maybe for a split second you felt like you were the only woman in the room. Maybe you didn't even understand why you felt so seen, so recognized by such a simple gesture. But your body knew, your energy shifted, your heart noticed, and that right there is where desire begins. You see, a hive you woman doesn't need to chase. She doesn't need to decode every text, overanalyze every emoji, or wonder if his voice message was meant to carry some deeper meaning. Because when a man is genuinely, deeply, madly interested, when he's crazy about you, he won't be able to contain it. Not even in his greeting, especially not there. That's the first place it leaks out. And most women, especially those over 30 who have had their share of complicated love and half-hearted effort, have been trained to look past it, to rationalize the chemistry, to suppress the flutter. But let me tell you something intimate, something I've seen over and over again in couples therapy, in real-life encounters, and in the rawest moments between two people trying to figure out if what they feel is real. When a man is truly into you, his greeting becomes a ceremony, not an act, not a game. Not even a performance, a ceremony. It holds weight. He may not even understand why he greets you differently, but his body does. His nervous system does. It's encoded in how he enters your presence. And that brings me to something subtle but powerful. When a man greets you like you matter, like he's grateful that your paths crossed again, even if it's just been a few hours since he last saw you, that is not ordinary, that is not typical. That is a sign that his attraction to you is not just physical, it's soulful. There's a difference between a man who says, "Hey, what's up?" and a man whose entire face lights up like the sun rose just because you arrived. One is courtesy, the other is reverence, and women who know their worth, they notice the difference. I'm not just talking about flirty behavior. I'm not talking about charm that's practiced. I'm talking about presence. A man who is crazy about you will greet you as though the moment is sacred, even if it's clumsy, even if he stumbles over his words. His energy will betray him, because when a man is deeply drawn to you, there is no script, there is only truth. And truth is messy, often awkward, but always real. Have you ever had a man look at you and hesitate, not because he didn't know what to say, but because what he felt couldn't be said in words? He just stood there, maybe smiling too long, maybe touching your arm lightly, maybe saying your name like it had its own melody. That hesitation, that moment of awe, that is not confusion, that is reverence. That's desire that respects itself. Because here's the thing, when a man is genuinely into you, his greetings are never rushed, they're not thrown into the air like confetti. They are careful, intentional, they carry the weight of his emotion. And you, as a hive, you woman, as someone who carries your own energy with grace and strength, you can feel when someone is giving you a greeting that's meant for no one else. This is where many women over 30 begin to tune out. They've heard it all before. They've seen the romance fade, the passion dull, the excitement get replaced with routine. But what I want you to know, what I want you to feel in your bones, is that when a man continues to greet you like he did when he first met you, even years later, that is love that has matured, not disappeared. That is desire with roots. That is romance that didn't die, it evolved. Now, let's go deeper. A man who is truly captivated by you won't just greet you when it's convenient. He won't wait for you to enter the room first. He'll seek you out. His greetings will feel like arrival, not obligation. He won't just say, hey, he'll say it with intention. He'll say it like he's returning to something familiar and safe and electric all at once. He may remember how you like to be greeted. He may adapt to your rhythm. Some women like a soft hug, some like words, some like teasing remarks. The man who's crazy about you, he notices, he remembers, he adapts, not to manipulate you, not to impress you, but because connection matters to him, because you matter. And yes, there are men who are very good at pretending, who learn your preferences so they can win you for a season. But here's how you know the difference. When the greeting is real, there's a vulnerability in it, a kind of openness that cannot be faked. His eyes will give him away, not with lust, with warmth, with hope, with longing that doesn't beg, but wants to be allowed in. And this, my dear women, is where you must stay attuned to your own intuition. Because it's not about being flattered, it's about being recognized. There is a world of difference between a man who wants to impress you and a man who wants to experience you. So, how does he greet you? Does he lean in? Do his words slow down when he says your name? Does his face soften? Or maybe he fumbles, blushes, loses his cool just for a second before collecting himself, like a boy who's just seen the girl he's been writing about in his journal. Don't dismiss that. Don't rationalize it away as, oh, he's just friendly. No, that's not just friendliness. That's chemistry cracking open. That's emotional transparency, and that kind of greeting. It's rare but unmistakable. If a man greets you like you're a surprise gift he wasn't expecting, but always hoped for, darling, that man is not neutral about you. That man is dancing between restraint and infatuation. And if he's grounded, emotionally intelligent, if he's a man of depth, not just impulse, then that greeting may be the first of many sacred moments he wants to create with you. So before you rush into analyzing the text messages or counting the hours between his calls, slow down. Watch the hello, it tells you everything. The way he enters the room when you're in it, the way his voice changes when he says your name, the way his shoulders relax or tense in your presence. These are the real signals, the ones that don't lie, because when a man greets you like that, he's not greeting the world, he's greeting you. And only you. Now let's take that understanding and look even closer, because there's another level of energy that shows up when a man's affection is no longer casual, it's conscious. It doesn't just appear in what he says. It shows up in the rhythm of how he moves toward you. When a man is deeply drawn to you, something changes in his entire rhythm. It's not just what he says when he greets you, but how he says it, how he moves toward you, how he holds the space when you're present. You'll start to notice something very subtle but incredibly powerful. He slows down, not out of hesitation but reverence. He's not rushing to get through the hello to get to something else. No, to him, the moment he gets to greet you is the something else. It's the moment he's been waiting for, and this isn't about romance in the way we've been conditioned to see it. Roses, dinners, grand declarations. This is about the slow, sacred noticing that only happens when someone has been paying attention to your essence, not just your appearance. It's how he mirrors your energy without even realizing it, how his body leans in before his words catch up, how his laughter softens around you because the man who's crazy about you isn't performing, he's responding. And the part of him that responds first is never the rehearsed part. It's the part that's vulnerable, exposed, and beautifully human. You see, a lot of women have been taught to search for intensity, for the man who's forward, who flirts boldly, who charms easily. And while that can be exciting, it's not always a reflection of depth. Real affection often starts in the quietest ways. It's in the way his energy shifts when you enter a room. He may be loud with others, but with you his voice might soften. Or the opposite, he might suddenly get more animated, trying to hide his nerves with humor. And the truth is, both reactions come from the same place. He feels something around you that he doesn't feel with others. You interrupt his autopilot. A man who is crazy about you doesn't greet you from the mind. He greets you from the heart. And the heart doesn't follow a script. That's why sometimes he'll say something that seems a little out of place, a little too personal, a little too soon. Don't be so quick to dismiss that. It might not be perfect delivery, but it's real, and authenticity is always a little messy. Now let's talk about one of the most telling signs, his eye contact during that greeting. When he says hello, does he really see you? Not just your eyes, but your emotional state, your presence, your energy. A man who is deeply interested will scan you without realizing he's doing it. He's not looking to assess you, he's looking to understand you, and it will show in his expression. If your mood has shifted, he'll pick up on it even before you speak. If you're excited, he'll match your brightness. If you're tired, his voice might come down a notch, instinctively meeting you where you are. That is a man who is emotionally attuned to you, and that doesn't happen by accident. That happens when you matter to him. Now I know some of you are wondering, what about the shy men? What if he doesn't greet me with charm or warmth, but with nervousness or awkwardness? What if he avoids eye contact altogether? That's still a clue, because a man who's indifferent will be relaxed, casual, unaffected. But a man who's drawn to you even if he's shy will show you something else entirely. Tension, he'll fidget. He'll laugh at the wrong moments. He might forget what he was about to say. Why? Because you've disrupted his emotional baseline. His body is trying to contain something it hasn't quite figured out how to name. And even if he's quiet, even if his words are minimal, the nervousness is his truth trying to find a way out. Sometimes attraction doesn't scream, it stutters, and if you're paying attention, you'll notice that his greeting is never indifferent, never robotic. It always carries weight, the kind of weight that says, I care how I show up to you. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because something in him lights up or tightens when he sees you. And let's not forget the man who greets you with humor, the man who walks up and instantly teases you, pokes fun in a light, almost boyish way. That too can be a sign, because humor, when used like that, is often a mask for vulnerability. He is covering up the fact that you make him feel something exposed, thrilled, maybe even a little nervous. And teasing becomes his way of keeping the mood light while his insides do somersaults. But even in humor, there's tone. There's tenderness, there's a softness around you that doesn't exist when he's talking to others. Listen to that. Not just the words, the tone. Is he gentle with you even when he jokes? Does he always find his way back to eye contact, to sincerity, to checking that you're laughing too? That's a man who wants to connect, not just entertain. That's a man who wants to be invited in. Now, I want to invite you to notice something else. It's one of the most overlooked signs that a man is crazy about you, but once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. It's the pause, the split, second pause before he speaks, the way he inhales just a little deeper before saying your name. The micro expression of wow, she's here, that flashes across his face, that pause is sacred. It's the breath of emotion he's trying to manage. That is not something you can fake. That is the body revealing the truth before the brain can dress it up. And hi, Val, you women, we listen to the body. We read the energy. We don't just respond to the words. We respond to the felt sense of connection. Because we know that truth doesn't always arrive with perfect language. Sometimes it arrives as a smile that lasts too long. A greeting that turns into a question, a hello that feels more like a confession. Let me tell you this, the men who are deeply, sincerely captivated by you, they feel it before they can say it. They feel it in the way their posture shifts. They feel it in the way they put their phone down when you walk in. They feel it in the way they remember what you said last week about your sick dog or your big meeting. Because his greeting isn't just a hello, it's a continuation of a silent connection he's been holding on to since the last time you met. There's no such thing as just a hello when he's into you. There's intention behind it, there's desire behind it. There's hope, maybe even fear, because what he's greeting isn't just your body, it's your presence, and when a man values your presence, you will feel it. In his timing, in his tone, in the tremble of his voice, even if it's slight. Sometimes his greeting will be so quiet, you'll almost miss it. But it'll echo in you for hours. That's when you know. It wasn't loud, but it was loud enough for your soul to hear. And you, the woman watching this, you know exactly what I mean, because you've had that moment. You've walked away from a simple hello feeling like something sacred just passed between you. That wasn't just chemistry, that was emotional resonance, that was recognition, and that's something no app, no checklist, no how to make him chase you strategy can replicate. It either exists or it doesn't, and when it does, it always shows up in the greeting. So the next time a man says hello to you, don't rush past it. Don't downplay it. Don't pretend it didn't move something in you. Watch, listen, feel, because a greeting from a man who is crazy about you will always sound different. It may not be poetic, it may not be smooth, but it will always be real, and real is rare. There's something almost poetic in the way a man greets the woman he's captivated by, something that bypasses logic and lands straight in the body. It's not just what he says, it's the frequency on which it's delivered. The way his energy carries those words toward you like an offering, not an obligation. And this is where many women make a quiet mistake, not out of ignorance, but out of conditioning. You see, when a woman has lived long enough in a world that teaches her to be suspicious of warmth, to doubt consistency, to brace herself for the drop after the high she might miss what's right in front of her, she might assume he's just being polite, or maybe he greets everyone like that, or worse, it probably means nothing. But I want to invite you into a different way of seeing. I want to remind you that your body is wise. When a greeting makes you feel safe, curious, soft, open, trust that. Don't rush to explain it away, because the man who is genuinely into you isn't just speaking to your ears. He's trying to connect with your nervous system, and the body knows. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful shifts that happens when a man moves from simply liking you to being completely taken by you. His greetings stop being reactive and become intentional. Let me explain. In the early stages, most people greet each other out of reaction. Oh, she's here. Hey, what's up? Long time no see. It's casual, it's functional, but the moment a man starts feeling something deeper, his hellos shift. They become something he prepares for. They're no longer a reflex, they're a choice. You might not notice it at first, but his body will start arranging itself before you even arrive. He may check his reflection, he may glance at the clock, he might even find himself rehearsing what to say, just to get it right. This is no longer about formality, this is about presence. The way he shows up is deliberate, even if it's disguised in casual coolness. Because when a man is crazy about you, he wants to arrive well, not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. And the greeting becomes the gateway to that. Have you ever walked into a space and felt like someone was waiting for you, not in desperation, but in anticipation? That kind of greeting wraps around you, it grounds you, it says without saying, you are wanted here. That's the greeting of a man whose soul has made room for you. And when a man greets you like that, when he gives you the gift of being fully present, even if only for a few seconds, you begin to feel the difference between attraction and affection. Attraction wants to impress you, affection wants to understand you, attraction performs, affection pays attention. Attraction is fast and burning, affection is slow and sustaining. That's why the man who is genuinely interested will start greeting you not just with his words, but with remembrance. He'll recall details you mentioned in passing. He'll ask you about that thing from last week. He'll say your name like it means something. Because to him it does. To him, you're not just a woman, you're you, and that is the highest form of greeting recognition. To be seen not just as attractive, but as known, that's the greeting every high, you woman should learn to wait for. Not because she's playing hard to get, but because she honors her emotional real estate. Let me tell you something else. The man who is truly drawn to you will greet you the same whether you're wearing red lipstick and heels or yesterday's oversized hoodie. Because when he's crazy about you, his attraction isn't conditional, it's emotional. He doesn't need the packaging to feel the presence. He's not greeting your outfit, he's greeting your essence, and yes, of course, desire lives in the body. Chemistry is real, but you'll know when a man's greeting goes beyond that. You'll feel it in your chest, in your breath, in the way your own voice softens around him, because what he offers in that greeting is safety. Attention, emotional intimacy, and hive. You women, they don't settle for less than that. There's a certain beauty in the way a man greets the woman who makes him feel alive. And it's not always verbal. Sometimes it's a smile that says more than language ever could. Sometimes it's a hand placed gently on your back. Sometimes it's just the way he stands a little taller when you enter the room, a little straighter, a little more anchored. That's not performance, that's embodiment. That's what it looks like when a man's admiration has reached the body. Now here's where it gets truly profound. If a man continues to greet you with that reverence not just in the honeymoon phase, not just during flirtation, but even years later, he's not just attracted to you. He cherishes you, and cherish is a sacred word. It means to protect and care for lovingly. That is not fleeting. That is not casual. That is not cheap. And you, dear woman, are worthy of that kind of greeting, every time. Not because you've earned it, not because you've proven yourself, but simply because your presence is a gift, and a man who sees that will never enter your space carelessly. So let this be your new standard. If a man doesn't greet you with intentionality, with softness, with genuine warmth, if he doesn't seem emotionally awakened in your presence, it's not that he's bad, it's just that he's not for you, because the one who is for you won't be able to greet you any other way. Not because he's trying, but because he can't help it. His soul has already chosen you. And if you've already met that man, if his hellos feel like home, like fire wrapped in gentleness, hold on to that. Nurture it, honor it, because that greeting is more than words. It's the beginning of something sacred. Before I go, let me leave you with this: never underestimate the power of a greeting. It holds everything. Attraction, intention, respect, admiration. It's not just a hello, it's the first page of a love story that's waiting to be written. And your role is to be still enough to recognize it, brave enough to receive it, and wise enough to never settle for less. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a man greet you in a way that stayed with you for days? A moment that made you feel like you were the event, not just another person passing by? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone. If this spoke to you, if you saw yourself in these words, please like this video. It helps more women find this space of truth and softness and power. And subscribe for more conversations like this, where we unpack the quiet parts of love that most people overlook. Because you deserve to be greeted like the miracle that you are. There's something extraordinary that begins to unfold once a man starts to greet you from a place of depth. It's not just affection anymore, it becomes a kind of emotional craftsmanship. Like each time he sees you, he's carefully placing a brick in the foundation of something real, something lasting, something he hopes will become mutual sanctuary. You see, many people think romance is built in the big moments, anniversaries, surprises, passion-filled weekends. But I've always believed that intimacy, real intimacy, is created in the tiny unnoticed interactions. And the greeting, that first moment of reconnecting, it's where it all begins. When a man is crazy about you, his greeting evolves with you. It matures, it adapts to the seasons of your connection. When you're sad, it's softer. When you're excited, it matches your spark. When you're guarded, it becomes more patient. A man who loves you knows that you aren't static, and so his greetings aren't either. He'll meet you where you are emotionally, and that's one of the most powerful forms of love. Not the kind that tries to pull you out of your state, but the kind that joins you there for a moment before gently helping you rise. Sometimes it's in the way he touches your hand when he says hello. Not to possess, but to remind you, I'm here, I see you, I haven't stopped seeing you. He doesn't need an agenda behind it. There's no transaction happening, it's just presence, and presence is intoxicating when it's genuine. You'll notice he remembers things, not just facts but feelings. He'll say something like, I was thinking about what you said the other day. Or you looked so tired that last time I saw you, I hope you got some rest. That is a man who isn't waiting for the right time to connect. He's using the greeting as the time. He knows that the first moment of reunion matters. It sets the tone for what follows. And if you pay close attention, you'll see he starts to greet you even before you physically arrive. Maybe he texts you to say he's looking forward to seeing you. Maybe he calls to hear your voice first. Maybe he simply positions himself where he knows your energy will pass by. That's not by chance. That's emotional anticipation. When a man is truly into you, he doesn't wait for life to create the moment, he initiates it. Not in a way that's controlling, but in a way that's deeply reverent. Because here's what most people don't understand. The greeting is not just about contact. It's about emotional invitation. A man who is crazy about you greets you not to perform for you, but to join with you. He's inviting you into something, his heart, his focus, his tenderness, and in that moment the world fades just a little. But what happens when the world doesn't fade? What happens when you're met with a cold hello, a distracted nod, or no greeting at all? That's when your nervous system speaks again. It tightens, your energy retracts, you start to doubt if you matter. And that's why this is so important. Not because we're looking for men to bow at our feet, but because we deserve to be met with presence. Hi, Val, you woman doesn't demand to be adored. She simply doesn't stay where she's invisible, and I know you've been there. We all have that moment where you walk into a room hoping to feel warmth, but you're met with indifference. You tell yourself not to take it personally, you rationalize it away, but your body knows that absence of greeting, it lands as rejection, as disinterest, as you're not significant. So when a man does greet you like you matter, it's not trivial. It's not small, it's sacred. You can't fake that kind of energy. It's in the way he stops mid-sentence to acknowledge you. The way he breaks away from a group just to come say hi. The way he lights up, not just in his face, but in his whole being when he sees you again. And here's the truth I've watched unfold in so many relationships, both blooming and broken. The moment a man stops greeting his partner with love, that's the moment emotional decay begins. Because the greeting is where connection is renewed. Without it, everything else begins to run on fumes. So if you're with someone, watch how he greets you. Watch if it changes, not out of paranoia, but out of awareness. Because love doesn't vanish overnight, it fades in moments, one missed greeting at a time, and the couple who can restore the magic of hello can often restore the magic of everything. Now let's take this even deeper. Sometimes the greeting isn't verbal at all. Sometimes it's just the way he looks at you when he thinks you're not watching. That flicker of awe, that glimmer of gratitude, that subtle shake of his head as if to say, "How did I get so lucky?" And those are the moments that matter most. Because they're unfiltered, they're not planned, they're pure. So many women are looking for grand gestures. And while there's nothing wrong with that, don't miss the quiet ones. Don't miss the hand on your back when you walk into a room. Don't miss the way he always turns toward you, not away. Don't miss the softness in his voice when he says your name. Those are not accidents, those are cues. And the emotionally mature woman reads them fluently, because she knows that in the world of connection, the greeting is the most honest moment. It's the moment before ego kicks in, before defenses go up, before words get too calculated. The greeting is where emotion leaks through, where desire becomes visible, where admiration finds its way to the surface. So now I ask you, how are you greeted? Not just by lovers, but by friends, by family, by colleagues. Are you met with warmth, with intention, with emotional presence, because you should be, that is your birthright, to be received as someone who matters? Not occasionally, consistently, and if you're not, then perhaps it's time to reevaluate who gets access to your presence. Because your time, your energy, your being, these are not casual things, and the people who recognize that will greet you accordingly. A woman who understands her value never begs for affection. She simply observes who already offers it without being asked. There's something hauntingly beautiful about a greeting that's rooted in love. It's not loud, it doesn't try to impress. It doesn't perform, it just lands softly, truthfully, and when it does, something in you settles, because your nervous system recognizes safety before your mind can name it. And in that moment, in that single hello, you feel it, not the rush of adrenaline, but the calm of being seen. And I think that's the part we often forget to celebrate, the quiet peace of knowing someone is happy you're here, that your presence adds something, that your being is met, not ignored, not tolerated, but welcomed. A man who is truly crazy about you will never treat your arrival like background noise. To him, your presence feels like a shift in atmosphere. Even if he doesn't say much, even if he's tired, even if he's busy, you'll feel that subtle lean in. The awareness that says, "You've arrived and I feel that." That is love in its most sincere, grounded form. And well, you women, we don't chase chaos. We don't confuse drama with depth. We don't mistake unpredictability for passion. We have grown. We've been through enough to know that the real magic lives in the consistent presence of someone who always shows up. We listen to how a man says hello because we understand that a greeting is a thermometer for affection. It tells you the emotional temperature of the relationship. If the greeting is cold, distant, distracted, you don't have to guess where you stand. You feel it, but when it's warm, present, intentional, when it feels like a gentle hand on your soul, that's when you know this is connection. This is mutual respect. This is someone who values your existence, not just your role in their story. And I want to speak now to the woman who has forgotten what it feels like to be greeted with that kind of reverence. Maybe you've been in spaces where you were overlooked, where your energy was taken for granted, where the people around you stopped arriving in your presence. I want you to know something tender and true. You never deserved that. You were never too much. You were never invisible. You simply outgrew people who couldn't recognize sacredness when it stood in front of them. But now you get to choose. You get to listen with new ears. You get to walk into a room and observe who notices. Not who stares, not who flatters, but who notices, who pauses, who adjusts, who softens, who becomes more alive in your presence. Those are your people, that is your tribe, that is the man who sees you, not just as a woman, but as a miracle wrapped in softness and strength. Because when a man is crazy about you, you won't need to decode mixed signals. You won't need to guess where you stand. You won't need to shrink to keep his attention. His greeting alone will whisper everything you need to know. It won't always be poetic. Sometimes it'll be clumsy. Sometimes he'll be nervous. But nervousness isn't a lack of confidence. It's often a sign of reverence. He's trying to get it right, not because he's afraid of you, but because he values the opportunity to connect. And that is intimacy in its purest form. So here's the invitation I want to leave you with. Begin paying attention to how people greet you. Don't just listen for words. Watch energy, feel tone, look for sincerity, because your soul deserves to be received, not just tolerated. And once you begin noticing that kind of presence, you'll never again settle for absence. You'll begin choosing people who choose you back, who don't just wave in your direction, but move toward you with their whole heart. And to the woman who's already found him, the man who lights up every time he sees you, who says your name like it's holy, who touches your arm like it's the most natural thing in the world, don't take that for granted. Don't let familiarity dull your awareness of how rare that is. Keep returning to that moment. Keep nourishing that greeting. Keep letting it anchor you in love, because the greeting is not the beginning of the relationship. It is the relationship. It reflects what's been built. It predicts what's possible. It tells you whether this connection is alive or merely surviving. When a man is truly, genuinely, deeply crazy about you, he will greet you with the same tenderness every time. Whether it's been hours, days, or years, whether you're dressed to the nines or just came out of a nap, whether he's at his best or struggling through his own battles, his presence will stay consistent, and that's the kind of man you never have to question. He doesn't greet you like an obligation, he greets you like a gift. So if you're wondering where you stand with him, stop scrolling through his texts, stop replaying his voice notes, stop overanalyzing what he posted on social media. Instead, remember the last time he said your name, the last time he walked into your energy, the last time his face reacted when you appeared. That's your answer, that's your truth, and that's where your power lies, because once you've tasted that kind of greeting, you'll never settle for anything less than sacred. You'll no longer chase someone who only waves from across the room. You'll wait for the one who walks toward you every time, without hesitation, without confusion, without fear. A woman of worth doesn't demand love. She becomes the space where love wants to arrive. And a man who's crazy about you, he'll make sure you feel that every single time he says hello. Now, my dear friends, if this message touched something inside of you, if it made you remember a moment, or perhaps yearn for a new one, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me about the greetings that stayed with you, the ones that surprised you, the ones that revealed a truth you hadn't yet put into words. And if you're ready to create more of these sacred moments in your life by being the kind of woman who invites presence, who recognizes sincerity, who honors her own emotional frequency, then please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this space with the women you love. Because when we begin to recognize the sacredness in small things, we begin to call in relationships that are not just exciting, but nourishing. And I don't know about you, but I believe we deserve that. Not someday now, until next time. May you be greeted not just with words, but with love.